Hello, this is Dr. Susan Gitau. You are lecturer in Counseling Practicum 1. This is lecture 2 or week 2, and the topic is Counseling Needs Assessment before Practicum. Just in case you forgot, I teach at Africa Nazarene University in East Africa, Kenya, in the Department of Counseling Psychology. And I'm happy to be associated with Hadong University in this manner. In our first session, we looked at the importance of Counseling Practicum 1 unit or course. And I always say it is one thing for a student to know how to practice theoretically, but when it comes to practicing in the field, it's very, very important that the student knows how to go about it. So this session is going to help us understand the importance of conducting counseling needs assessment before a student proceeds to practicum. This lecture will explain the importance of carrying out counseling needs assessment before engaging in practicum. It will also help a student who is undertaking counseling to consider areas that need assessment. And we will also look at why counseling. What are the benefits of counseling? How will you know that you have actually received quality counseling services from a lecturer or a therapist? How would you tell? So we're going to look at that in this session. So at the end of this lecture, you will be able to explain the importance of counseling needs assessment, identify key goals, objectives that guide counseling needs assessment, and also examine the benefits of counseling and psychotherapy. Very, very important. Why do we have to conduct counseling needs assessment? You realize that every client is very unique. So counseling needs will differ from one client to another. The same way a client is quite unique is the same way they will require unique approaches to fit their needs. So counseling approaches will fit different needs of clients. And so a student in counseling, before they go for practicum, they need to know this. So you don't go there with one, unified way of doing practice to all clients, or thinking all clients need what you're giving them. And appreciating that the uniqueness of counselors, of clients, is very, very critical. If you don't consider clients' needs also, you might end up pushing your own agenda. And that happens quite a lot when you have beginning students who may have their own anxiety and drive the counseling session using their own anxiety. So in the real sense, you will be meeting counseling needs, but they are not the client's needs. They're basically your needs. When you carry out a counseling needs assessment, priorities are identified. So you don't have to really go round and round, or you don't have to handle a client's needs that are not really important at this particular moment, but they may be important at some other moment. And so it's very, very critical that as a counseling intern or a counseling student, before they leave for practicum, to know that clients are very different. Different approaches will fit different clients and their needs as well. And it's also good to be clear of the counseling needs, and it's also good to prioritize them. There are some factors that are important to help you conduct the counseling needs assessment before practicum. One, you may ask yourself, where I am going for counseling, what physical resources are available there? For example, will I be given an office? If I am given an office, Is that office going to be shared, or is it going to be my own office? What else is there? If I'm going to maybe a center, a counseling center or practicum site that I know maybe require certain physical facilities. I'm giving an example of maybe you're going to a practicum site to work with children. You may need play therapy rooms, play therapy items, and that will help you meet the needs of the clients who are the children that you're going to support. What about if it is a rehabilitation center where probably you have to carry out occupational therapy? Does the physical environment also provide you with safety, security? So it's very, very important to know, what do I need so as I can offer the best of my counseling services? What does the client need so that they can benefit maximally from what I'm offering as a counselor? It's also good to consider the human capital that is present. And when I talk about the human capital, there are some practicum sites or internship sites where students must work with other professionals. And so I'm not going to work in a medical setting or a rehabilitation center with very severely addicted clients, and there are no psychiatrist on site or a nurse. And so I may really need to know, because if I have this client in a rehabilitation center, for example, they will need, yes, my counseling services, which is part of their treatment process. But they will also need maybe the nurse to keep giving them medication. It's not going to be me. They need a psychiatrist who has probably to keep assessing how they are doing mentally. It's not going to be me. And so that consideration is a very, very important factor. When you talk about skills, competence also, that can be maybe you. It can also maybe the people you're working with. It can also be a set of skills that you'd want this client also to acquire and achieve. Very, very important. And you can also ask yourself, as I go for this counseling practice, do I have the skill set that is required? Am I competent the way I ought to be if I am going to an addiction facility? Do I have the competencies for an addiction counselor? If I'm going to a child-centered center or a practicum site, am I equipped as a child therapist? Talking about network, and I think this is one area that you cannot ignore. Who are you going to network with? As I go out there, if the clients that I'm going to serve, will they need another network to help them probably have the best of their therapy outcome? What about me? Do I need to network with other people to give the best of my services? Very, very important for a student counselor to ask that. And sometimes when you talk about the needs assessment, you may also ask yourself, in case I fall sick, right? This is about now you. In case I fall sick, in case I'm not able to get to work, can I ask them, whether I can stay? And that's why I said there are many factors. These are just but a few that I have highlighted. But always when you're thinking of needs assessment, you always put yourself there because you're very important as you provide the counseling services. It's also good to ask about the client, and it's also good to ask about the general practice that you're going to be engaged in, whether it's child therapy, addiction therapy, school counseling, marriage and family therapy. Whichever field that you're choosing, you need to ask, what are the needs that I must consider before proceeding for practicum? It's always good to remember that when we are doing a counseling needs assessment, that setting counseling goals is very, very important. The main goal of counseling basically is to help people use existing personal and other available resources for coping with life challenges. Remember, in simple terms, we say counseling is a helping, skilled, ethical profession that helps normal people cope with normal challenges of their everyday life. And so, if you're setting any counseling goals, then they need first and foremost to enable that client or help that client to face the challenges they are facing on a daily basis so that they can perform to their level best and they can also live with other people in harmony. It also helps people like enhance their intrapersonal and interpersonal relationships. And because counseling is a relationship, a set of interventions and a collection of psychological processes with goals is very, very important to consider. It is also advisable for counselors to differentiate between personal needs and those of the client before engaging in therapy. Why is this important? I have seen in my practice with students who are, for example, the female student, maybe they are expecting a child, and of course they have their own needs and the needs of the child that is growing in them, and they still insist they want to go for practicum, and maybe where they want to go for practicum, within that time frame they cannot be able to cover the hours that the practicum course unit requires. And so I look at them and I'm like, they're just thinking of how they can complete the course, but they're not thinking about their personal needs. Some would say, I can go there and only work half day. So in this case, they are not considering the needs of the clients. And so striking a balance at that point is quite important. And I would like you, as you really think of going for practicum, ask yourself, what are my personal needs at this moment? They could be my health needs, could be my psychological needs, they could be my counseling skills needs, they could be my family-based needs, they could be my work-related needs. What are your personal needs? Why is it important to identify what they are so that you do not mix them with the client's needs? So you should not be on the receiving side and offer shoddy services to the client, nor should it be that the clients again needs they overstep your needs. There should be a balance in between. Why do we have to go for counseling? And so whenever you're thinking of the counseling needs for your client, it's good to know setting counseling goals has benefits. One, it keeps you focused. It keeps the client focused because you already know automatically this is what I want. For example, if a client is presenting themselves with alcoholism, addiction, and they start bringing so many things in your therapy room, like they tell you they want to engage you in their marital issues. Well, it's not bad to say so. Or they tell you they would want you to help them get a job once they're out of the rehab. You can imagine if you don't have your counseling goals well set, you can lose focus. It also helps the counselor and the client to maintain attention. Maintaining attention is, what are we doing now? What should we be doing now? And that attention linked with focus is likely to take you where you want to go as a counselor with your client. We also talk about time management. if your counseling goals are well set, they are smart. We talk about smart goals. One, they're very specific, very intentional. There's what you want to achieve. Second, you can measure them. Maybe today you say, I'm going to do this with a client, then session 2, this is what I'm going to do with them. And of course, they are achievable because they are set within a time limit. If you know you're meeting your clients for 45 minutes or 1 hour, you know what you can cover, what you can pick from the goals and fit into the counseling hour and look at the activities that you really want to carry out during the session. It also helps to prioritize, because I have told you, some are not really counseling goals. Some could be something else. And from my experience, clients, if you don't know what to do as a counselor with them, they will take you to any country, they will take you to any road, they will take you through any route. And so when we talk about setting counseling goals, it's very, very important for you as a counseling student or as an intern, because you might be lost in the middle, and getting lost in the middle can make you burn faster, can make you lose hope in the process, can make you think that this may not be doable, can make you feel like you're not competent enough. And so counseling goals will also help you to conduct self-evaluation. Say, for example, you say that with this client, I'm going to help them maybe to have effective time management plan. And for sure, this client follows through with what you are sharing in therapy. And if you have been following that and evaluating that, you will definitely find it was worthy setting the counseling goals. Some of the benefits, if they were to be analyzed when conducting counseling needs assessment before practicum, is to ask yourself, will I have supportive listening skills? What does this entail? This involves providing clients with the opportunity to be heard, to be understood, to be affirmed, and to feel accepted. And you as a counselor, you must be skilled at listening. And as a counselor, I say you listen with your ears, you listen with your eyes. Sounds funny, but listening with your eyes means you're really observing what is happening in the client's world. You don't just sit with them, you're paying attention to their behavior, that is verbal and nonverbal. Everything really matters. And so you're all present for the client. You are not losing touch of what is happening to your client on a moment-to-moment basis. When we talk about empathetic communication, is where you cognitively get into the world of your client, and you don't judge them when you get into their world. You want to understand what could be happening in their world, and the clients feel close to you because they can see you are like getting it. You are getting their problem. You are getting what could be disturbing them. And I'm telling you, every human being, wherever we are, we would love to feel accepted. We would love to feel understood. We would love to feel not judged, but accepted just as we are. It also, supportive listening also gives a sense of safety and constructive feedback to the client, because you've listened very well, you did not lose anything about the client, and because you have everything at your fingertips. Even when you're giving feedback, you have it all. You can imagine when you do not have active listening as one of the supportive listening competencies, and you listened to the wrong things, and you're there trying to give your client some summary of their story, and it sounds so new to them because you are not giving them supportive listening. So supportive listening will help you to know, even when the client doesn't really know what they want, you can help them to structure where they want to be. You can imagine when a client would tell you, aha, yeah, that's what I want. You know, like you're telling them, I hear you say that you've been drunk for so long, you've lost a lot of money, you've lost a lot of opportunities, you've lost a lot of friends. I hear you say you want to change. And they go saying, yeah, you have it, you got it. The aha moment. And so as we do our counseling needs assessment, when it comes to now, we as therapists, we need to ask, do I have the ability to offer supportive listening? Because by doing that, then I can be assured of taking my client from point A to B, a point of hopelessness, helplessness, to a point of hope and healing. If you are able to offer supportive listening, these are the benefits. As a counselor, you will provide the following to your client: comfort. We would like to feel comfortable, our clients too. Ease suffering, because when you have supportive listening to someone who is paining, overwhelmed, they are crying, they are hurting, and you're just there, and especially with active listening, you will ease their pain. Most of our clients come to us with past psychological wounds, and active listening, which is supportive listening, help to heal those psychological wounds. Because when you listen, this is what happens. The client has all the time to talk about what is hurting them, what is paining them. And maybe they've never had anybody who listens to them so intentionally, someone who is so present with them in their pain like you're doing. And what happens? These clients, they have alignment of their cognitive processes because you are there listening without interruption. And so, you find this very important as a counselor. Can I offer that? Am I in a position to offer that supportive listening? Because I know the benefits. When you offer supportive listening, you also act like a sounding board that helps the client to move forward. Or even what we call a bouncing castle for kids. They just step on it, they up and move forward. The other thing you may want to ask yourself is, am I in a position to manage my clients' problems? Because clients will bring problematic situations to counseling. And your work as a counselor is to support the client by breaking the larger problem into several smaller, more manageable tasks and assignments. That is your work. And if a client, for example, has low self-esteem, you as a counselor can begin by asking the client to name at least 5 attributes they like about themselves and relate the feelings that go with the same. You can imagine they are coming to you because they have been unable to manage their problems. A client who checks in into a rehabilitation center where you could be practicing as an intern or where you could be carrying out your practicum work believes when they come to you, you are a problem manager. But we all know in counseling, you do not manage your clients' problems, but you help them to manage their problems. And so this comes out very, very hardy in you knowing as a counseling student proceeding for internship that I need to know how to help clients break down huge problems into small, manageable activities or tasks that they can do with a lot of ease, and with time they can use this to solve other daily problems, even bigger ones in future. Because every time they're able to do a small task to manage a problem, the more confident they will become tomorrow when faced with a similar problem or even a different problem. You also ought to be in a position to help them to analyze their problems. You can imagine when somebody comes to you and they tell you, I don't know what's up with me. I just feel like that. I've lost interest in everything. And they don't know what that is. So a client's sense of being overwhelmed or feeling depressed may have multiple dimensions. For example, unhappiness in their job, or lack of assertiveness in a relationship, or lack of boundaries in a relationship, or maybe they have neglected themselves at the expense of maybe other significant issues or relationships in their lives, or they may have taken others more seriously than they would themselves. So it is your work as a counselor to help them unpack the bigger problem to specific manageable problems that can create an inner sense of control and worth. So problem analysis is also a very powerful life skill, because I may know of a problem as a client, but maybe I don't know how this problem, once it is dissected and broken down into small problematic issues, how they affect my life, my daily activities. And so it's very helpful to know that the clients are waiting for you to help them to really analyze their problems and be in a position to tackle their problems. Very, very, very important. Sometimes you may be in a position to assess that your clients have perceived weak skills, and so it's you to help them to strengthen what they think are weak skills, or what indeed are weak skills. And by this I mean life skills. Clients will come in with a set of skills that they have been applying in their daily life to mitigate their challenges. In certain situations, some clients are not fully aware of these skills that they have that can help them in different situations. So some skills they consider as weakness can be strengthened to become more useful for future, even for current situations. For example, if somebody tells you that they like helping, but this helping has been taken for granted, they have been abused because of this helping. Basically, they have been abused. And so at the end of the day, you may find them asking you How do I stop being this kind so that people don't take advantage of me? Definitely, you don't want them to be to be cruel to people. You do not want them to be who they are not. And so the best thing that you can do is to strengthen what they perceive as weak. And this, there are many examples that you can give. There are many case scenarios that you can show, and there are many ways you can support this client. For example, if my kindness is taken for granted, I need to be helped to know where should I take my kindness and how and to what extent and with whom, you know. And you can go deeper and ask them uh, to narrate to you situations whereby they feel taken advantage of. You can ask them what they think they can do about it. Quite helpful. And where some clients think that they are weak, and indeed maybe they are, they may need to develop assertiveness. This is the ability to say no and mean it and be it without really breaking down, or without really forgetting that they don't have to be angry, they don't have to be mean. And in the face of saying no, they don't hurt themselves and they don't hurt another person. Very critical. When someone is assertive, in most cases they will make decisions that are firm and live by them and keep them. They will also set boundaries, whether they are physical boundaries, they are spiritual boundaries, emotional boundaries, whatever boundaries, intellectual boundaries. An assertive person knows those boundaries, sets them, and keeps them. And so the clients. So you may find that this skill called assertiveness is a life skill. And most clients, especially those that complain, people are taking advantage of me, they are in hurtful relationships, or they say, oh, I have narcissistic partners or friends. These are the people that you may need to empower with assertive training skills. Emotional fitness is also another area that is very, very critical. When you think assertiveness and you think about emotional fitness, because I may want to say no, but I feel weak to say no. Or I really want to say no, but I'm afraid to hurt another person. In this case, mostly, it's about how emotionally fit am I. Very, very critical. And so it's important that we know assertiveness could be one of the counseling needs you may find is very important to developing clients. And actually most clients that complain they've been taken advantage of, most clients that they say they are victims of peer pressure, most clients that say I am just stuck, in an enmeshed relationship, it's like you're operating as an ego mass. Assertiveness becomes very, very important. If you find this is a need in a client, kindly take a step to train them how to be assertive and live assertively. In application, a client may be too good to his colleagues because he wants to build team spirit at workplace, and they are taken for granted for being too good. Imagine if this person becomes assertive, they will tell them, my intentions are to build a team spirit. But this doesn't mean that I don't have to, this doesn't mean I don't have to do this over and over again or alone. I may need you to do it. Please don't think that when I am leading you in this way, I cannot delegate this to another person. Please don't take it for granted. I would also like you to know that when I'm aware, you can also continue with what we've been doing at workplace. And you stay there and you firm and refuse to do otherwise. Sometimes the client may be held to become more assertive if they are not, by asking them to take up their load of tasks and stick to their tasks and remain firm on that decision. And then you can evaluate during sessions whether they are doing that. Another skill or need that you may find important to understand and know how to build is empowerment of existing strong personal skills. Clients come thinking they are weak and weak. They come thinking they have really nothing that is useful as a personal skill. So some clients will visit counselors because they wish to do better than they are doing now. The work of the counselor is to find out how they are doing currently and ask how they wish to perform or to live or to interact going forward. And therapy can be directed to achieving the desired goals in therapy and seek ways to maintain the same. I'm talking about, for example, someone or a client who is very patient when in trouble, when they are suffering. And this client thinks that they have nothing, and you can ask them, how does your patience help you? And the client might tell you, I rarely get into conflicts with people. My patience helps me to analyze, review my situation very critically. It's a strength and a very strong one. But maybe when they come to you, that's not what they see. And say, you can encourage them that to know that this patience helps to build the inner character. And that is what we call resilience. So it's not a weakness. And it can help you, especially dealing with difficult people. And it can also help them to shield their emotional world when threatened by those difficult emotions driven or generated by those people who are around them. Counseling has taught me over the years that most clients are suffering, most clients are sad, basically sad, because they don't pay attention to moment by moment experience. So most clients are not aware that regular check on how they think, feel, and act on moment to moment largely contribute to the healing process, especially of past traumas and coping with anxiety disorder. Mindful self-compassion and mindfulness have been proven scientifically to be quite useful to treat clients. And one of the things that will happen during mindful self-compassion and mindfulness therapy situations is to enhance the sense of compassion in the clients, the sense of self-kindness in the clients. And this eases their suffering. And they will not blame themselves for their suffering. Because the minute they start blaming themselves for their suffering, indeed, they can easily get into depression. And so mindfulness and mindful self-compassion is a counseling approach that can help you meet the client's needs based on their mindlessness or based on their rumination, where they keep ruminating over past issues that were painful. And so every client that you may find that their counseling needs have been unmet, have been unresolved, you can start thinking, do they need mindfulness? Do you need to enhance mindfulness and mindful self-compassion in these clients? Mindfulness and mindful self-compassion have amazing benefits. One, you don't add any value as a human being to keep thinking about yesterday that is already gone, or thinking about tomorrow which has not yet come. But there's lots of benefits when you think about now, what is happening now. And so for you as a counseling intern, I would say as much as you're thinking about your clients, and especially right now where we are finding that clients are bringing in lots of issues, and most of the issues, especially during this period of COVID-19 pandemic, some of the issues that clients accumulated during COVID-19 break have turned out to be a traumatic marks, and they keep remembering, they keep talking about it, and that tells you that they basically are traumatized, and they need to be unstuck. And how well can they be unstuck other than making them live in the present moment? What are they enjoying now? What do they want to do now? What do they need right now? You can imagine really when clients are disturbed, get to think about that. Mindfulness will help clients to deal with denial, and so they will not avoid touching their pain, touching their suffering. They will be bold enough to face that suffering. I know towards the end of Counseling Practicum 1, we are going to get deeper into mindfulness and mindful self-compassion, talking about compassion in psychotherapy. And we will discuss more of what I'm just highlighting right now. Mindfulness will lead to less stress, because I have told you, when you double your worries by thinking about the past and so much about the future, where you really don't have control over, that means stress in itself. Then mindfulness allows for cognitive flexibility. You can imagine if, like, I have a rubber band, and I'm stretching like that. Even our minds can get rigid and stuck, where we do not live in the present moment, because maybe there is something that was conditioned in the client's mind. Something happened along the way, but now they conditioned that, and because they conditioned that, they always remove it every now and then when need be, or when they are threatened. And so their mind is fixed. But mindfulness helps that mind to be flexible. And so when you're thinking about your clients, when you're thinking about you going for practicum, you need to investigate the type of clients that you're going to meet. And of course, I have realized most of the internship sites that the students like to go to are those challenging sites where they can try out all the theories and all the skills they have learned in class. And so this is going to be a practice that you will need to know that your clients will need. I have also realized that in my country, I don't know how it is in your country, most rehabilitation centers are the ones that are very open to receiving counseling students. Big organizations like in the human resource department. And here in Africa, for example, we have an issue with age. So if you have a young counseling student, it's very difficult for them to be taken in by a counseling center where they have adults or senior clients than the student counselor. But with mindfulness, it's rarely that you will go wrong as a counselor applying it. And these are the core values of mindful self-compassion, kindness, that don't treat yourself so harshly, especially if you realize you also have your own personal needs. When it comes to the clients, don't treat them so harshly because of the situations maybe that you may judge as if they were naive, as if they did not think smart. When we talk about compassion, it is about going out of your way to alleviate suffering from yourself and from the client. Very, very important. And then making the clients know that suffering is common humanity. Somewhere in the universe, someone is suffering like they are doing. Somewhere in the universe, there is someone crying to be helped, like the client you are seeing or you will be seeing during practicum. The other assessment that you may need to investigate is enhancement of interpersonal relationships. Counseling helps a client to know self in relation to others, and a good counselor facilitates this process during therapy sessions. A counselor is required to model effective communication that the client can adapt in communicating with others. I want to tell you, if you assess that you're a good communicator, then you can almost tick that this is what you're going to give your clients. And if you give this to your clients, when they model you, when they copy you, you are almost assured that they will have very healthy relationships with other people outside your therapy room. And so when you talk about enhancing interpersonal relationships, you as a counselor, you are very key. And so when you're doing your counseling needs assessment, when you're thinking about you as a counselor, you ask, do I have competent interpersonal relationship skills, or what we call in soft skills? The way I interact with my clients, do I see them changing just because of the way I communicate with them? Am I a good mirror to my clients? When we talk about reflective communication skills, and this happens a lot when you're basically having a one-on-one with your client, how is your volume? So are you loud enough for the client to hear? Are they comfortable with your volume? Are you comfortable with their volume? Although for you, it's not so much about you being comfortable with their volume, but they being comfortable with your volume. Because some clients, when they're very overwhelmed, some go very low on volume, and others, when they have a lot of anxiety, they will be over the roof. Articulation is about how clear is your speech. How are you pronouncing the words? Did they understand them? Or you're using jargon that your clients cannot understand? And so every time you're thinking about going out there, and this is something I want to tell you that I had to learn the hard way as a counselor. Will I be a communicator, one that is reflective? What about my pitch? Was I overly straining my voice or talking too high or low? This is reflective in nature. Will I be doing that? Because when you also look at yourself as a counseling student who is getting ready for practicum, you may want to ask about you and the way you communicate. Then the emphasis, was I using too much emphasis and appearing melodramatic, or too little and appearing flat? You know, you can imagine a situation whereby a counselor is flat, and the mood that you can set in that room. Well, as much as we say counseling should be calm, should be peaceful, it's good to watch out that you don't make your client doze. You'd rather be the one struggling to keep alert, but not your client struggling to listen to you and to put up with you. So the rate that you're also speaking at, is it quick? Is it full of anxiety? Is it slow? Is it loud? You know? And what happens is that the client will always take what they have learned into future conversations. You can imagine it's just like the way we talk about children and their parents. Monkey see, monkey do. So you are their best mirror. What kind of a mirror are you? Then we have counseling and psychotherapy benefits. And we have different associations that were formed by great professionals. Like we have the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy, BACP, that says that counseling and psychotherapy are umbrella terms that cover a range of talking therapies. Do you know that? Are you aware that you're going out for practicum to basically use your talk and communication skills to heal someone? And these talking therapies are delivered by trained practitioners who work well with people over short or long term to help them bring about effective change or to enhance their well-being. That is Mark Leodin 2013, Introduction to Counseling. And you will realize that some clients will need counseling. Counseling mostly what we call solution focused or problem solving. But there are some clients with deep embedded emotional issues. They will need psychotherapy. They will need to be with you for a longer time. And you had better know that as you do your needs assessment. Other benefits proposed by American Counseling Association are that counseling will empower diverse individuals, families, and groups to accomplish mental health, wellness, education, and their career goals. We all would like to advance in our lives. We all want to make meaning. We all want to be remembered for something. And counseling happens to be one of those professional practices and services that will take a client there. Other benefits may include enhanced self-awareness, enhanced interpersonal relationships, creativity, problem solving, and how you know you have effective therapy or you have conducted effective therapy is when you know your therapy is client's best. It is solution focused. You're not going to leave somebody hanging there trying to find solutions to their problems. It will also bring emotional fitness, where a client doesn't have to keep complaining of emotional woundedness, doesn't have to keep saying, oh, they're hurting my feeling, oh, and so even for you as a student proceeding For practicum, you need to ask, am I in a position to offer effective therapy? Effective therapy is also structured. It's not something that happens along the road or along the corridors. We know when we think about a counseling setting, peace, quiet, silence, the colors in the room speaks volume. The kind of seats you use, are they comfortable? Are they uncomfortable? Lots of stuff that is structured in nature. How you move your client from exploration to the action. Very important. Then effective therapy is scaled. So it's not just done for the sake of doing it. Other benefits would be solution focused skills, self-actualization, creativity in diverse areas, high performance in their daily activities, inspiring the person to have that desire to help other people. Imagine. And I have seen this in my own practice, which is quite fulfilling. You help a client, especially clients who are recovering from addiction, clients who are recovering from depression, clients who are recovering from criminal activities, clients, especially the youths who are learning to be assertive, to be creative, and to be differentiated. And they are now, you see them helping another person. It's very, very critical. Just like you asking yourself, what benefits have I gained from counseling, and how am I transferring these to other people or to other quarters? So it's also good to know that counseling will bring collective good through political engagement and community work. Yes. Today, as I'm talking to you, I'm just like 2 days away from actually marking World Mental Health Day that happens every 10th of October every year. And I have to involve a few people to make a statement in mental health, and especially right now. And so counseling brings the benefit in the sense that you become assertive, you become aware, not just for yourself, but for other people. And so we can actually see like a client who heals and benefits from counseling will advocate for other clients to seek counseling services because they have been helped. And a good counselor will always transform their client to fit in the society in a better way than they came in. And in conclusion, this lecture has helped us to understand the importance of counseling needs assessment before practicum. We have also looked at why we need to set counseling goals and objectives, and how you can be guided as a student counselor to conduct counseling needs, and especially in key areas. And we have also examined the benefits of counseling and psychotherapy. Probably what I would like us to remind ourselves as students proceeding for counseling practicum. Are you ready? And if you're ready, how ready are you? Sometimes you may find that what I have taught you right now and the skills, the competences, right, that you may require, sometimes what the counseling profession will require, sometimes what the clients you're going to support will require, might sound a bit overwhelming for you. But if you take each day, one day at a time, if you take each of these units or lectures we are covering, one lecture at a time, and seeking support, like I've always told you and given you references in this presentation. Corey, Gerard Corey, best known as Corey G, has written many books on the practice, the theory and practice of counseling and psychotherapy. Because we as counseling psychologists, we also do psychotherapy. I've told you some clients take for a short time, others take longer. And I've given you a book there, and you can also Google and go to YouTube channel and get more about Chris Gamma and mindful self-compassion. Of course, Jones and MacLeod and Corey G are gurus in the practice of counseling. And so even if you would Google their names, you might get these resources that will be quite helpful. And we can continue interacting with you definitely on my email sgitao@anu.ac.ke. It's been a pleasure having you in this class. See you in the next class. Thank you.